Hello, and welcome to ACC's Biology 2306, The Living Planet. This narration is designed to help you set your expectations for the class. We're going to discuss how the course is put together, how you will be graded, and some of the course policies. You will want to have a copy of the course syllabus and schedule handy as we go through these slides together. Also, if you have difficulty reading the slides, there is a printable version of the slides available on Blackboard. Let's get started. So again, welcome to The Living Planet. I think this course is a lot of fun and very interesting. This course is going to teach you about ecology and biogeography and biodiversity. So you're going to be learning about the different environments that exist on this planet, the challenges that living in those environments pose to living things like plants and animals, including humans, and how plants and animals and humans use different kinds of strategies to overcome those challenges. This course allows you to be a virtual traveler. Together, we're going to explore the highest mountaintops, the deepest oceans, the hottest and coldest environments on the planet, the driest and the wettest environments on the planet, and we're going to get to explore the fascinating organisms that live in these different environments and learn how they survive. You're going to need to complete an orientation to get ready for this course. All of the materials that you need for the orientation are located in the Content menu of Blackboard. That's on the left-hand side of the screen, and the orientation materials are in this folder. There are several steps to the orientation. First, you want to obtain a copy of the course syllabus and schedule and read them over carefully. Second, you want to work through this presentation. And after you've done that, you can send any questions to me via email, and I'll get back to you with answers. Once you've done that, you're going to need to go into that syllabus and orientation folder and obtain the student information sheet. You'll want to read through this carefully, follow the instructions, and fill it out, and then you need to get a copy of this back to me no later than the deadline. That means you can scan it or take a picture of it and send it to me by email, or you can even mail it to me, and the address is provided on those instructions. Once I receive your student orientation materials, I will respond with a confirmation email, and at that point, we're all finished with orientation. Orientation is really, really important. It's absolutely mandatory. If you miss the deadline for orientation or just don't do it, you will be dropped from the course. So make sure you get on it and make sure you don't forget to do it. The deadline for submitting all of the orientation materials is Friday, July 13th at 11:59 p.m. Everything you need to know about the format for this class can be found in the course syllabus and schedule. I highly suggest that you obtain these documents and read through them very carefully, and then contact me if you have any questions. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to understand my expectations of you for this course. In this presentation, we're going to go over some of the high points of the syllabus, so it's probably a good idea for you to have a copy handy to refer to as we move forward. One of the first things listed on your syllabus is my contact information. So who am I? My name is Jennifer Herrell, also known as Jen Herrell or Ms. Herrell, and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. As your instructor, I am one of many resources available to help you learn the material. So we will be in contact with each other quite a bit, even though this is an online course. The best way to reach me is via email. You can also reach me through the Blackboard discussion boards, and I will be offering both in-person and virtual office hours. These are times when you can come and see me either online or in person, and we can work through the material together. Now, I'm an adjunct professor, so I don't have an official office on a specific campus, but I also work as a tutor in the Northridge Learning Lab, and so you can come by and see me during my tutoring hours, and we can sit down and work on this information together if you'd like. This semester, I will be available in the Northridge Learning Lab on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I will also host some virtual or online office hours this semester. These are times when I will be at or near my computer specifically for the purpose of answering your questions. Now, I'm not going to sit in front of my computer and stare at the screen the entire time and hope that someone posts, but I will check it every few minutes, and if someone's posted a question, I will answer it. If we get a good discussion going, I'll stay on the computer during those times. I will be available for my virtual office hours on Sunday mornings from 9 to 11, and also Thursday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. To access me during my virtual office hours, you're going to click on this link right here, Ask Your Professor / the class. This is a discussion board that I set up for the specific purpose of answering your questions. So once you go in there, you're going to find threads for answering questions about the format of the class or the course schedule, and also areas where you can post about the content itself. This is a great tool that you can use anytime, even if I'm not on the discussion board when you post. I will check it fairly frequently. And you can also answer each other questions through this discussion board. So if I'm not at my computer, if I'm out for the afternoon, and someone else happens to know the answer, you're welcome to post answers to other people's questions as well. Now, if you have a question about the course or the content, it's very likely that someone else has that same question. So for that reason, I do recommend that you use the Ask Your Professor / the class feature for asking your questions. However, if you do need to contact me about something personal, about a grade, about a difficulty you're having, or just a question you don't want the entire class to see, it is perfectly acceptable to send me your questions via email. Before we get into all the details of how this course is put together, there are two important things I need to point out to you. First, that this course is an online distance learning course. This is an internet class, and that means that all of our interaction is going to be performed through Blackboard online. So there are no classroom meetings that you have to drive to, and that's kind of great. However, there are a couple of instances that are going to require you to come to ACC campuses in order to complete this course. First, consider this. To complete this course, you're going to need a reliable source of internet. So if you were planning on completing this course at home on your phone and your internet access is really spotty, that's probably not going to work out very well for you. So in that case, you'll probably want to consider coming to an ACC campus so you can use a computer in a computer lab that's reliable. The second reason that you'll need to come to an ACC campus is to take your course exams. Exams are going to be proctored, they're going to be offered through official ACC testing centers. There's a testing center available on every ACC campus, and they are spread out all over the area. But you're going to need to take 5 separate exams, so you're going to need to come in to ACC campuses for at least 5 hours during the next 5.5 weeks. The second important thing that I want to point out about this class is that it's only 5.5 weeks long. Now, a traditional long format ACC course is 16 weeks long, so this course is going to be offered in about 1/3 of the amount of time as a regular class. So it is fast. Now, I'm not telling you that to scare you, but I want you to set your expectations for this course being very rapid. You're going to have to work on this material frequently, pretty much constantly, to get everything done in the next 5.5 weeks. So just set your mind to it being rapid and set your mind to spending a lot of hours on it over the next few weeks. Now, there are some benefits to taking a short format class. For one thing, you don't really have time to forget the information. There's not a month that goes by between the first time you heard the lecture and when you're required to take the test. There's a couple of days between the lecture and the test. So it can be beneficial to memory, at least in the short term. It's also beneficial because you get the class done quickly. You get those credits and you can move on. So just set your expectations to it being fast and you're going to be fine. Online courses are definitely more flexible than traditional classrooms in that you get to choose when and where you complete your work. However, you shouldn't assume that an online course is going to be any easier than a traditional classroom. In this course, you're going to cover the exact same type and quantity of material that you would were this a traditional in-class class. And you're going to use many of the same types of activities that you would in a traditional class, including watching lectures, doing reading assignments, and interacting with your classmates. You should also be aware that this class definitely has deadlines. Now you can complete your work within those deadlines however you'd like, but those deadlines are pretty hard and fast. You don't want to miss a deadline for an assignment. Being successful in an online course requires a big commitment of time. It also requires a lot of self-discipline. You get to determine what your schedule is going to be, but that also means that you have to manage yourself and you have to manage your time and stick to your own deadlines. This is especially true because this is a 5.5 week course. It's going to fly by, and if you get behind with the material, it's going to be really difficult for you to get caught up. So just set in your mind at this time that you're going to commit a lot of time to this process and you're going to set your deadlines and you got to stick to them. You are absolutely going to need access to a reliable computer with reliable internet access to be successful in this course. Now, if your computer at home or your device at home isn't really super reliable, then you may want to plan to just come to an ACC campus and use the computers that are there. Every single ACC campus has computer labs that are freely available to ACC students with reliable internet access and an IT staff that can help you clear up any problems. We will use Blackboard to access all of our class materials. You will need both an ACC ID number and a password to access the Blackboard site for our course. If you have any issues with the ACC ID number, contact Student Services. You're also going to need access to your ACC email account in order to communicate with me throughout the semester. I send out frequent announcements through Blackboard, and Blackboard automatically emails those announcements to your ACC email account. Again, if you have any issues with your ACC email account, contact Student Services. Computers are amazingly convenient when they are working properly. Of course, they don't always work properly. Here's some things you can try if you're having computer issues. If you're trying to open a website and it's just not working right, try opening it through a different browser. Many of the sites that we use like Firefox and they like Chrome, they work fine in those browsers, but they don't work very well in Internet Explorer for whatever reason. So avoid Internet Explorer. You can also change the settings in your browser to allow pop-ups. Sometimes that will allow certain features to work. You may also need to update some of the software on your computer during the semester. For instance, you may need to update your Adobe PDF reader. You may need to update Flash or QuickTime features so that you can watch certain videos. If you're still running into problems, try calling our helpline. They can connect you with someone in distance learning or someone in IT that may be able to help. You can also visit someone at the learning labs. We do have computer specialists in each of the learning labs that can sometimes help you. This can be especially helpful if you're working on your own device. If you can take your device in, sometimes they can take a look at it and figure out what's going on. If everything else fails, you can always use the computers in the ACC computer labs or in the learning lab to complete your assignments, assuming it's not a strange hour and that they are actually open. Now, we use a number of web links to access information in this course. And of course, links to things on the internet come and go. Sometimes they're accessible and sometimes they're not. I have been double checking these links to make sure they work. But if at any time you find a link that is no longer working or just will not open for you, let me know, and try to let me know ahead of our deadline so I can try and find an alternate for you. If this is your first online course, I suggest that you check out this website. This website contains a number of quizzes and online materials that help you evaluate your skill set and can help you decide whether an online course or a traditional course is better suited to you. If you do decide that you'd rather take this course in class, then we do offer that at ACC. Check out an ACC schedule and see when it might be offered. Next, let's discuss how this course is organized. The material for the course is broken down into 5 separate units. For each unit, there are resources to help you learn the content itself, and there are assignments to help reinforce and assess your learning. For learning the content, there is a study guide that's available that accompanies a series of videos we'll talk about. This material is also reinforced with a series of narrated lectures. All of these materials are available on Blackboard. And once you've got the content pretty well down, you'll want to do the assignments. There are homework assignments that will be completed individually and submitted on Blackboard. You're also going to be required to take part in group discussions of some of the material as well and interact with your classmates. And then finally, this will be followed by a unit test that will need to be taken through Blackboard, but in an ACC testing center. The majority of the material that you'll need to learn for this course can be found in this study guide and also in this series of videos. The study guide is The Living Planet, Concepts and Questions 12th edition, written by 3 fantastic ACC professors. And the great news about the study guide is that it's available absolutely free online. You can access it and print it through that site. You can also find it posted on Blackboard under Study Guide in its entirety. Or if you prefer to download just little chunks of it at a time, you can find those smaller chunks in each unit folder. The Living Planet videos that you'll need to watch can also be accessed online for free. The link is found in Blackboard, right there. The first thing you're going to want to do when you're ready to tackle that material is to obtain a copy of the study guide. I prefer to print the study guide out and write my notes and answers in it by hand, but if you have an electronic alternative to that you'd prefer to use, you're welcome to use that method. The study guide itself is not going to be taken up and graded, but I think you're going to find it pretty essential to your learning in this course. There will be information presented in the study guide that is testable, that you're going to need to learn. It's also going to provide a framework and some guidance for you in watching those Living Planet videos and taking appropriate notes. It has a series of questions included in each unit that will help you practice what you've learned, so I do suggest that you work through the material and actually take the time to answer the questions at the end of each unit. If you want to go ahead and get started, Unit 1 is page 1 to page 28 in that study guide. The study guide works in conjunction with the Living Planet video series. These videos came out in 1984 and they were produced by the BBC. So yeah, they are a little bit dated, but the information that they contain is still good information and it's still a fantastic series. It's just a little retro, right? The video series consists of 12 episodes. Each episode is going to take you into a different environment, show you the different challenges faced by living things there, and will give you lots of great examples of how living things can exist in those different environments. So again, you can access these videos for free through the Streaming Videos link on the main Blackboard menu. You will need Adobe Flash Player in order to open the videos and get them to play properly, and I do suggest that you stay away from Internet Explorer as you're trying to play the videos. They seem to work better through Firefox or through Chrome. If you have trouble with streaming videos or think it might be a problem for you, you can access the DVDs you can buy them online, or you might check at some of the ACC libraries. They have copies. Although if you're going to do that, I'd get there pretty quickly because they will get snatched up. Finally, some of the required material will be found in narrated lectures posted on Blackboard. These will be divided up by unit, so you can find the specific narrated lectures required for each unit in the unit folders. The narrated lectures will either consist of a YouTube video accompanied by printable versions of slides, or a PowerPoint presentation that includes narration. Next, let's discuss the graded assignments that you'll be required to complete for each unit. Here are the point values for all of the required assignments. For each unit, you'll be required to complete an exam, a homework assignment, and a discussion board post. Exams are worth 100 points apiece, so they're worth 500 points total towards your score. Homework assignments are worth 10 points apiece, so they're worth 50 total towards your score. And discussion board posts are also worth 10 points apiece, and there's 5 of those, so they're worth 50 points total towards your score. You have the opportunity to earn up to 600 points for the semester. Here you can see the different grade percentages and letter grades that will be used to assess your learning this semester. Each of these grade levels corresponds to a certain number of points that you can earn this semester, and those point values are listed in your syllabus. For instance, in order to earn an A for this course, you need to earn a total of at least 540 points from all your assignments this semester. Each unit will include a homework assignment to be completed individually. Each homework assignment is worth 10 points. The specific due dates for the homework assignments are listed on the course schedule. In general, the homework assignment should be submitted for grading no later than each Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. on Blackboard. Here's our course schedule for the first unit of material. From this you can see that our course begins on Friday, which is a little weird, July the 6th, and that your very first homework assignment for Unit 1 is going to be due on Wednesday, July the 11th, and this is due on Blackboard no later than 11:59 p.m., so midnight of that day. The homework assignments for each unit are found in the individual unit folders, so your homework for Unit 1 will be found in the Unit 1 folder. You're going to find that the homework is available in 2 different formats, a printable version and a Blackboard quiz. You'll want to print out the printable version of the homework and work on it on paper. And then once you have all of your answers down the way you want to submit them, you'll want to go back in and open up the Blackboard quiz and use the quiz to actually submit your answers for grading. You can submit your answers to the homework assignment through the Blackboard quiz in more than one sitting. So if you are interrupted in the middle of submitting your answers, it's fine. What you'll want to do in that case is just click on the Save All Answers button and then exit the quiz. And you should be able to go back in and it should have your original answers in there. Do not click on the Save and Submit button. The Save and Submit button submits all of your answers for grading, and you can't reverse that action. You can turn your work in for grading by clicking on the Save and Submit button. Again, you can't reverse that action, so once you submit it, it's in there. You have to submit your answers before the deadline, so look at the course schedule for the deadlines each week. Now, some of the questions on the homework assignments will be automatically graded by Blackboard, and if that's the case, you should be able to go back in through the My Grades feature of Blackboard and actually look at your submission and see what you got right and what you got wrong. If there are questions that are short answer or essay type questions that required writing, then I'm going to have to grade those before you can look at your responses. Be forewarned, some of these homework assignments are quite lengthy and they're in depth. They're going to take you quite a bit of time to complete, so don't put them off for the last minute to try and do. If you wait until Wednesday at 11:50 p.m. to try and submit your answers and something goes wrong with the computer, then you're not going to get to submit your answers, and I'm not going to reopen that assignment for you. The online group discussions are an opportunity for you to work with your classmates to review the material and clarify your understanding, and also to develop a sort of online review sheet for the test. You'll be expected to participate in one discussion per week, and there will be certain posts that you have to make. I'll post the topics for you to discuss each week in the individual unit folders. So the discussion topics for Unit 1 will be placed in the Unit 1 folder. After you've discussed the basic topics, you can discuss anything else you want to within your discussion groups. So you can ask questions of one another, you can review certain topics, ask for clarification, share interesting resources, etc. I'll post the discussion topics by Friday of each week, and then you'll have until the following Thursday at midnight to make your contributions to the discussion group. Late work will not be accepted. Here again we have the course schedule for Unit 1, and again you can see that the course begins on Friday, July 6th, and that your contributions to the first discussion topic are due on the following Thursday, the 12th, by 11:59 p.m. that night. The point of the group discussions is to work collectively with your peers to tackle and answer as many of the discussion topics provided as possible. Your group doesn't have to answer all of the discussion topics that are provided, but the more the better, because if you don't answer a particular question as a group, you're going to need to answer them individually and review that material before test time. So the more you contribute and the more you work together, the better. But you do want to work as a group. So how will you be graded on this? Well, essentially you need to contribute to the group discussion 4 times during the week. One of your posts needs to be an original post. So let's say you look at topic number 1 for Unit 1 and you start answering the first question. Now you don't want to answer the entire question or all of the topics yourself. You just want to answer little chunks. And the reason is that you want to leave room for your group members to also contribute. Everyone needs to contribute, so you split up the work and so that everyone can earn the credit they need to earn. So let's say you make that first post. You're going to earn 3 points for that. It needs to be meaningful. It needs to have good content. It can't be something like, I agree, or this is neat, or just posting a link. Okay? It needs to be your descriptive post. You're also going to be required to respond at least 1 time to another student's post. So they post something meaningful, and then you respond with a couple of sentences. Again, the response can't be something that someone's already posted, and it can't be something as simple as I agree or great job or a link by itself. It needs to be something descriptive and meaningful. You'll get 3 points for a good response. You will also get 2 additional points for having posted 4 times during the week. So you need to make 2 other posts or responses, your choice of what you do. And you need to make your posts on 2 different days. So if you make your posts on at least 2 different days, you earn 2 additional points. I highly suggest that you start these discussion topics as early as possible in the week. So I will post the information on each Friday, and I'd say get on it right away. Don't leave it all for the last day to do. For one thing, you can't earn all of your points that way. And for another, it's going to be a lot of work and a big confusing mess if everybody waits until Thursday to contribute. Each discussion topic is worth 10 points total. The discussion groups are important to both your grade and to your learning process. Again, this is your opportunity to work collectively with this material, to review each other, to clarify, to go through the material one more time before test time. It's also important because collectively it's 10% of your total grade. In the past, students who do not participate in the discussion groups tend to do worse on the tests. They also don't earn those discussion group points, which should be pretty easy points to add to your score. You'll demonstrate what you've learned from each unit by completing an exam for that unit. The exams will be taken online through Blackboard, but must be taken in an ACC testing center. So these are secure tests. You will be given scratch paper to use during your test, but you may not use notes or neighbors or books or any online sources during your exam. It's just you and your brain and the computerized test. ACC has a number of testing centers. There's a testing center on each campus. This semester, the Rio Grande and Pinnacle campuses are closed, unfortunately, but there are plenty of other options. If you're not going to be able to use one of the ACC testing centers, you need to contact me right away, and we're going to need to contact the distance learning department to try and set up an alternative site for you to take your tests. You can't just come by my office and take it on paper. If you have any sort of disabling condition or you need special accommodation, I highly recommend that you contact our Student Accessibilities, our SAS office at ACC. They have a number of resources that can be very, very helpful to students in taking these types of courses. You also might find that you're not near an ACC testing center sometime during the next 5.5 weeks. So if you're out of town and there's an exam due, or you live far away from an ACC campus, what can you do? Well, in those cases, it might be possible for us to set up an alternative testing site, but we need to get that set up right away. So you need to look up the information I provided in the syllabus on distance testing and contact me immediately if that's the case. The 5 required unit exams will be posted in the exams folder on Blackboard. You won't be able to open these exams without a specific password that will be provided to you only in an ACC testing center. You have to take all 5 exams in order to pass the class. So if you skip an exam, you're not going to pass with anything other than an F. If, however, you take all 5 exams, you will also have the opportunity to take an optional final exam. The final is comprehensive, so it will cover everything we talk about for the entire semester. But if you take it and you score higher on the final than one of your unit exams, I will replace the low unit exam score with the higher optional final grade. Now you can only take that optional final if you've taken all 5 unit exams. You can't skip a test and say, I'll take the final later. That's not how it works. You have to take all 5 exams, and then that allows you to take the optional final. There are no makeups for exams. Let's discuss extra credit. Everybody loves extra credit. Now, I'm not going to offer any extra credit projects for this class. You can't do an extra report or something to bring up a test grade or that sort of thing. But I will put some extra credit questions on each exam. If you prepare for your exams, you should be prepared for those extra credit questions. They are optional. You don't have to answer the extra credit questions, but why not? Try for them. They can add some points to your test grades. The 5-unit exams are mandatory, and the deadlines for those exams are pretty firm. Now, if you have some kind of a crazy schedule conflict, do contact me. Email me as soon as you can, and so that we can figure out what we can do. I might allow you to negotiate an extension for one exam, and that might be by 24 hours, something like that. But that's it. I'm not going to allow you to negotiate extensions on every single exam, so don't expect to get those kinds of extensions. We can avoid a lot of problems this semester by you taking your exams by the deadline and preferably 1 to 2 days before the deadline. This avoids things like computer issues, the computer shuts down and won't let you finish. This avoids things like running out of time at the testing center, that sort of thing. So do plan to get your exams done on time and if possible a little bit early. Each exam will cover material from the corresponding unit. So for example, exam 1 is going to cover material from unit 1. In this case, unit 1 is going to cover the introduction part of the study guide, pages 1 through 28 of the study guide. It will cover any of the information in the discussion topics, and it will ask you questions about the homework assignment number 1. Exams 2 through 5 are also going to cover some information from the Living Planet videos. Exam 1 is the only exam that will not cover information from the videos. Here again we have the course schedule for Unit 1, and you can see that Unit 1 does cover the introduction, pages 1 through 28 of the study guide, and that the exam for Unit 1 is due no later than Friday the 13th, that's an unfortunate number, by the time the testing center closes. Now, different testing centers will close at different times, so you want to make sure and check on their hours before you make your plans. You don't want to go to a testing center that closes at 3 p.m. if you weren't planning to get there until 6 p.m. I highly suggest that you review all of the testing center policies before you go in to take your first exam. You want to know what to expect when you go into that testing center so you're not surprised. Another thing to watch for is to make sure that you know which exam number you're taking, because they will all be available in the computer. If you open up the wrong exam and start taking that, you're not going to be able to go back and take the exam you're supposed to take. So make sure you know which exam you're taking before you go in. The testing center is extremely serious about security, and they have certain very strict policies that they follow to the letter. So you want to know about those before you go in. For instance, they are really, really particular about cell phones. You cannot have a cell phone in a testing center. Not even off, not in your pocket, none of that. If you're in a testing center and you suddenly remember that you have your cell phone in your pocket, don't touch it. If you take it out, regardless of whether it's on or off, they will see it. You will be recorded while you're in there, and they will kick you out and they will ban you from the testing center. So there are lockers provided for your possessions before you go into the testing centers. Make sure your cell phone's in that locker, not in your pocket, not in your hand. Again, read over the testing center policies before you go into the testing center to make sure you don't run afoul of any of these little rules. So hopefully you found this presentation helpful in clarifying how the course will be run and what I expect of you and what you can expect of the course. I do suggest that you go back and read through that syllabus and through the course schedule very carefully and contact me with any questions that you have. This is not the correct email address, by the way. Go with the jherrell at austincc.edu address that's listed in the syllabus for questions. But I will get back to you as soon as I can. Or remember that you can post questions in the Ask My Professor link on Blackboard.